I am a huge Julie Cameron fan. It wasn't something that I set out to do. It was a total fluke, happened by accident, although there are no accidents, right? I had my heart set on becoming a successful actress. I wanted it more than anything. I needed it more than anything. I needed to succeed because I had sacrificed so much that if I didn't succeed, I felt my life would be a total waste. And yet I was blocked. I was auditioning and I just wasn't making that breakthrough. And a woman that I toured with said, I think you ought to try the artist's way. And I was like, yeah, okay. And then sure enough, that very week, maybe only a day later, I was on my way to Mill Mountain Theater and I was listening to the radio and Katie Lang came on and she was talking about the artist way. And she went on and on about how she had been blocked as a songwriter, and she picked up the artist's way and she started doing the exercises and the morning pages, and it totally opened her up. And she was writing again, writing better than ever. And so I thought, good enough for Katie Lang. Well, I'll give it a whirl. And so I did. And as the A student that I am, I did every single exercise and I committed to those morning pages. And oh my gosh, from the very first session of writing pages, I was gobsmacked. Could this be more liberating? I was astounded at all of the gunk that was coming out on the page. And I was like, well, no wonder I was blocked. I'm carrying all this baggage of thoughts and feelings and just all of this gunk on my shoulders, on my back that I'm not even really consciously thinking of. I had been shoving down all of this negativity and anxiety and now I was putting it on the page, and every time I finished those 3 pages, I thought, oh, what a relief. And that got me even more energized to do every single exercise in the artist way. And along the way, I discovered that what I really wanted to do wasn't act, it was to write, which was my initial desire from the time I was 7. And well, no wonder I was blocked as an actress. No wonder I wasn't making a breakthrough, because that wasn't what I was meant to do. I wasn't meant to be an actress. My heart and soul belonged on the page. And so for the next 6 years, I committed myself to morning pages, and every single day I wrote those morning pages and opened myself up, and then I wrote freely about whatever I wanted to do. And in those 6 years, I wrote 3 one-acts and 3 full-lengths. One of my one-acts was produced at the Washington, D.C. Theater Festival and at Mill Mountain Theater. And one of my full-lengths was a finalist at Mill Mountain Theater and at the Dallas Theater Center. I was writing and people were listening, and I was damn prolific. It was grand, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is like magic. This is like big magic, Elizabeth Gilbert, big magic. And I just knew if I just stayed the course, I was going to break through. I would be having my plays in regional theaters, and then, well, life came along, and depression started to dig its claws into me. And even though I still did my morning pages, my horrors of negativity were gaining strength. And it got to the point where my horrors of negativity were first and foremost on the page, and they never left the page. And by the time I would finish my 3 pages, I would feel worse. And so I stopped, and I didn't know what I would do. And so I went into therapy, and therapy was great. And interestingly enough, my therapist said, why don't you write a new version of your life? The kind of life that you always dreamed of, the kind of life you wish had unfolded. And so I said, okay. And I found a writing group and I started writing short stories. And then I wrote 3 manuscripts, 3 full novels, and I started 2 more, and I wrote a memoir, and I wanted to do morning pages. And I would start and I would stop and I would start and I would stop. And I didn't realize it at the time. But the reason I was stopping was because I was afraid those horrors of negativity would come back. Because writing had given me hope. Writing had shown me that there was a path forward, a way for me to live in this world and be productive and feel as if I had some self-worth. And I really still want that big break in writing. Not because it will erase my path like I believed the acting would, but because writing allows me to own where I am, allows me to connect with other people in a way that's true and no bullshit. And that is liberating and comforting and just a way to celebrate living in this world. And so I knew that I needed help. And because of how well the morning pages worked for me before, I wanted to give them another go. But I was so afraid of those horrors of negativity. I just needed to keep my head above water. And I would try them and I would stop and I would try them and would stop. And then I lost my son to mental illness. And I thought I would never write again. I thought I would never write again. And then Julie Cameron called me back. Julie Cameron's new book at the time, Seeking Wisdom, came out. And I was drawn to that title. I didn't really know much about the book, but I saw Seeking Wisdom. And I thought, yeah. One of the reasons that I couldn't move forward as an actress, besides the fact that I really wanted to be a writer, but my heart wasn't in it because I didn't believe it. And I want to write. I want to craft stories that people want to read, that will open up their worldview, that will help them connect to themselves in a deeper way. But I had a lot of doubt. I just didn't believe deep down that it was going to work out because nothing ever has worked out. And so I thought seeking wisdom. Maybe seeking wisdom will help me figure out how to trust myself, to believe that what I want to accomplish is doable and will materialize. And so I committed to the program and I committed to the morning pages. And in that book, Julia talks about when she went into recovery in AA. And after the initial introduction, her sponsors came to her and they reinforced the fact that in order for the program to work long term, you really need to develop a relationship with your higher power and pray. And as a lapsed Catholic, Julia said, yeah, not gonna work for me. And then one of her sponsors said, well, you can pray to anything that you believe in. I pray to Mick Jagger. And Julia thought, okay. And so she chose a line from Dylan Thomas, "The force that through the green fuse drives the flower. The force that through the green fuse drives the flower." She said, I believe that. I can believe in that. And so that's how she began to pray, to communicate with her higher power. And I thought, oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Almost like the cat in the hat and the fish in the pot. But I thought, I love poetry. I can do that too. I could just take all my poetry books down and I can read through them and I can find out that one line. And then I said, well, if you're searching for it, if you have to go looking for it, you don't really believe it. It's not an innate part of what you believe. And so I got myself very quiet and I tried to imagine what it was I really believed. And immediately I understood. I believe that the shoe always drops. No matter how well things are going, the other shoe is gonna drop. I'm always looking for it because it always happens. It is the one true thing in my life. Yes, I believe that. The shoe always drops. How is that gonna work? And then I itemized all of the shoes, the sneakers, the spiked heels, the sandals, all the shoes that dropped. And I identified exactly what they were. And then I started to see that when each of those shoes dropped, it dropped because there was really something else that I needed to focus on. There was something else that I needed to learn before I could move forward. Every one of those shoes came like a message. They were a message. And I thought, well, who's sending this message? My shoe spirit. I have a shoe spirit. Of course I do. And so from that moment on, I sat down with my morning pages, and every day I say, good morning, shoe spirit. How are you? And I write away. And I was in conversation, and I began to ask him questions. What do I need to know? What do I need to accept? What do I need to try? What do I need to grieve? What do I need to celebrate? What does my heart say about this? And the most extraordinary thing happened. In the midst of writing that very first question, before the entire question got on the page, the answer was already coming through. It was magic, big, big magic. And then I realized, well, no wonder the hordes of negativity came storming in all those years ago. No wonder I couldn't fight back, because I wasn't in communication with my higher power, my inner spirit, my inner child, that true voice that is within all of us. I wasn't acknowledging that I had any power or any connection with the universal power of life. And now morning pages have it's a whole new ballgame. I mean, every day I'm in communication. Now, I am a big journal person. I have a journal full of every single manuscript that I've worked on, more than one, 6 or 7 at a time. I brainstorm in them, I problem solve in them, I plan, I write down notes of inspiration. I mean, I really work those journals, and I find answers there. But the hardest problems that I have in my writing life come in those morning pages, in the early hours in the morning, when I'm just free writing and asking for help, and it comes on the page. Most recently, I just found a hook for my book that has been evading me for years. And I finally have the confidence now to talk about my book, Morning Pages. I am now 4 years deep into Morning Pages again. And this time, I know that they will always be there, because morning pages are my anchor. They give me an anchor to my life and to my writing. Morning pages are teaching me how to trust myself, to believe in myself, to find the path forward, even when I think there is none to see. They also are nurturing me to be open and willing to share without censoring. Morning pages are the greatest gift a writer can give to themselves. I urge you from the bottom of my heart to try them. Give them a whirl. Even if all of this just seems too woo-woo for you, and there's no way you could really commit, why not pick up The Artist Way? You might be surprised at what you discover. Let Julia help you. She's guided me. She can guide you too. But more importantly, if you do those morning pages, you will learn to guide yourself.